The sky was already on fire when Cade opened his eyes. Ash drifted through the broken remnants of what used to be a coffee shop window, the air thick with the stench of ozone, melted steel, and a hint of roasted plastic. Cade blinked against the heat shimmer and pushed a half-charred table off his legs. It wasn't the best way to start a Tuesday. Somewhere above, the massive engines of the Sithri warships still hummed low like the sound of a storm waiting to strike again. Earth, or what remained of it, was a cinder ball. Cities turned to smears of black and glowing slag. The oceans had boiled. The atmosphere was being peeled away like the rind of an overripe fruit. And yet Cade was alive. More importantly, he had something the Sithri didn't. Still breathing. A voice crackled in his earpiece. It was Sarai, the AI assistant that had been with him since Project Ganymede. Her voice, though synthetic, still managed sarcasm with alarming accuracy. "Barely. You good?" he rasped. "One of us has a damaged cooling unit, and the other has third-degree burns. So define good." Cade grinned. Gallows humor kept the blood flowing. He staggered upright, scanning the wreckage of Midtown New York. The once towering skyline was now twisted metal trees jutting from scorched earth. Somewhere out there, the remnants of humanity, if any, were scattered like ants beneath a magnifying glass. All because the Sithri declared Earth in violation of the Galactic Preservation Treaty. Not that humanity ever signed it. Cade stepped over a pile of debris and found the edge of a ruined drone transport. Its chassis still glowed faintly, its cargo half melted but not destroyed. Inside, behind layers of graphene armor, was the last working prototype of the Omega Relay. The very reason Earth was attacked. Project Omega was humanity's last-ditch plan. An instantaneous quantum communicator designed to bypass Sithri control grids. It could reach deep space colonies without using the monitored jump relays, effectively rendering the Sithri's chokehold on interstellar communication useless. To the Sithri, that was an act of rebellion. They responded like gods from the old myths, with fire. Cade limped toward the wreckage, prying open the container. A faint hum greeted him as the Omega Relay's status light blinked weakly green. A miracle. "Sarai, can we bring it online?" "With a functioning power cell, yes. Also, we need a cooling chamber unless you want it to fry our eyebrows off." "There's a geothermal tap under the Grand Central Bunker," Cade muttered, remembering the old emergency power grid. "We hook in there, cool it using the old ventilation system. That buys us, 2 hours of signal time? If you don't sneeze too hard, maybe 3. Cade loaded the relay onto a shattered hoverboard and began the painful trek underground. The deeper he went, the more the city faded. Down there, the bones of civilization still lay dormant. Old subway cars, rusted machines, even flickering emergency lights like distant stars. He passed graffiti dating back decades, resistance slogans, love notes, warnings. It was like walking through the final diary of mankind. But then he heard it. A shuffle. A cough. He spun, rifle raised, but it wasn't a Sithri drone or a scavenger. It was a girl, maybe 16. Hair in tangles, skin soot-smeared, eyes wide with feral terror. "Human," she whispered. Behind her were 3 more survivors. 2 children and an old man holding a makeshift spear. Cade lowered his gun slowly. "You're not alone?" he asked. "We thought we were," the old man replied. "They told us no one survived Midtown." Cade blinked. They lied. Or maybe I just didn't get the memo. Either way, we're bringing Earth back online. You in? It was the moment hope took root. Word spread. The tunnels whispered again. Survivors who'd lived like ghosts began to emerge. Mechanics, hackers, even a former astrophysicist who looked like she hadn't slept in a month. Cade had gone down with a machine, but now he had an army. Small, starving, determined. Hours later, deep in the reinforced substation beneath Grand Central, the Omega Relay purred to life. Sarai linked up, managing heat flow and stabilization. Power surged as the geothermal taps kicked in. Cade stared into the console. The green icon blinked again. "All systems go," Sarai said. "Sending signal." "To whom?" "Anyone who's listening. Mars outposts. Venus orbiters. Titan bases. Maybe even the Arcadia ships if they're still alive. Then let's tell them Earth's not dead." As the transmission fired into the void, cutting through the Sithri web like a needle through silk, Cade knew they had just committed an act of war. But the Sithri weren't gods. And this time, humanity was watching back. Above, in the stratosphere, one of the Sithri motherships detected the spike. Data relays flared. AI consensus snapped into alarm. A human signal had breached their network. Worse, it was coming from Earth. They had burned it. They had erased it. And now the ghosts were talking again. The Sithri High Consensus deployed an orbital retrieval team. Protocol burnout. No survivors allowed. But what they didn't know was that the humans weren't hiding. They were baiting. And Cade had something special planned for the next phase. Something very, very human. Something called payback. The blast rocked the bunker just as the second message finished transmitting. Dust showered from the ceiling, and the lights flickered violently before going black. Then the emergency glow strips lit up, red and pulsing like a heartbeat. Cade didn't move. He was staring at the console, where a new icon had just appeared. A reply. Mars Station Alpha was still active. Got your message, the signal said. Sending uplink. Reinforcements delayed. You're on your own. Godspeed. Cade laughed bitterly. Classic. Behind him, the small crowd of survivors looked pale in the glow. The little girl with soot on her cheeks clung to the scientist, whose name was Dana. The old man gripped his spear harder. They had heard the explosion too. They knew what it meant. Sithri troops had landed. Seal all inner gates, Cade ordered. Sarai, what's our power situation? Backups are stable, but I won't lie, we're running hot. If they take out the geothermal unit, the Omega relay's fried. We get one more burst of transmission, max. Cade turned to Dana. How long until the booster you promised me is ready? She shoved her glasses up her nose, smearing soot. Maybe 6 hours if we had a clean room and parts that aren't older than I am. In reality, I'll make it sing in 3. Make it scream, he replied. We'll buy you time. Cade grabbed his rifle and motioned to a few of the younger survivors. Those with military training, or just enough rage to stand. Above ground, the first Sithri assault drone landed in the ruins of Midtown like a giant obsidian spider. 6 legs, chitinous armor, twin cannons on its back. Scanning pulses flickered across its surface. It moved in silent arcs, looking for life, for signals, for anything that shouldn't be. It found Cade's decoy transmitter instead. The moment it latched onto the frequency, the makeshift EMP mine beneath it went off, frying its systems. The drone twitched, hissed smoke, and collapsed. But that was just one. More came. Cade and his team fell back into the tunnels, drawing the Sithri forces into a maze of old human infrastructure. Subway lines, sewer grids, forgotten service shafts. All of it was mapped in Cade's neural implant. He wasn't just surviving anymore. He was hunting. By the second hour, he'd taken out 5 drones, 2 hybrid walkers, and wounded a scout captain. An 8-foot-tall thing with plated armor and 4 glowing eyes. The captain bled violet and screamed like a child. The survivors, meanwhile, turned into a miniature resistance. Dana coordinated repairs. The old man, who they now called Gramps, taught the kids how to make traps with kitchen supplies. A former drone technician named Leo rewired a food dispenser into a remote explosive. Humanity wasn't dead. It was adapting. But time was short. The Sithri's main retrieval ship arrived in low orbit, casting a shadow the size of a small city over the wreckage. Its scanners peeled back metal and stone like paper. It zeroed in on the Omega relay's signature. They found us, Sarai said flatly. Cade wiped blood from his temple. How long until they breach? 15 minutes. Maybe less. Dana. She looked up from the relay. Signal boosters online. But it'll only hold if we feed it all our remaining power. Cade paused. That would mean no defenses. No cooling. No lights. No life support. Just a single blast of truth screamed into the universe. He turned to the group. This is it. If we want the galaxy to know what happened here, to tell them the Sithri are not gods, just genocidal cowards, we have to speak now. But it'll cost us. There was silence. Then the little girl stepped forward. Her voice trembled. Let them hear us. Gramps nodded. We've lived through the end of the world. What's one more risk? One by one, they agreed. Cade activated the power feed. Everything went dark. Even Sarai dimmed into emergency mode. But the relay pulsed, brighter than ever. Sarai's voice returned, faint. Targeting all channels. Colonial routes. Mining freighters. Arc ships. Even black market relay nodes. This'll echo across the stars. Cade stepped to the mic. This is Earth. We are not extinct. The Sithri burned our planet. They killed billions. But they did not silence us. We see you. We remember. We endure. He ended the transmission. Outside, the retrieval ship's core cannon began to glow. Down below, Dana and Leo yanked the booster's cooling rig into place. Gramps laid down the last trap with a child watching over his shoulder. And Cade stood alone now at the front tunnel, rifle in hand. The first wave of Scythery soldiers arrived in a fan of light and steam. Cade grinned. "Welcome back to Earth, bastards." He fired the first shot, and the war reignited underground. The tunnels roared with sound and fire. Cade's rifle discharged in rhythmic pulses, each bolt lighting up the underground maze with blue fire. The Scythery shock troopers moved with eerie precision, silent, fast, shielded. But they weren't built for tight tunnels or guerrilla warfare. And they definitely weren't prepared for human rage. Cade rolled between two support beams as plasma rounds scorched the ceiling behind him. He came up firing, took out a scout's optics. The creature shrieked and stumbled back, its weapon discharging blindly, slicing through its own kin. Behind him, Sarai's emergency voice whispered through his earpiece. "Main relay holding. Signal still echoing. We've been pinged by 18 colonies. One's a warship group." Cade ducked behind cover. "ETA. Fastest one, 10 hours. Slowest, 2 weeks. Let's try to live that long." In the central control room, Dana watched the energy levels spike dangerously high. The relay was glowing now, pulsing like a second sun in the depths of Earth's grave. Leo manned the improvised defense rig, guiding a plasma arc through hacked security turrets. Gramps and the kids rotated trap triggers like a well-oiled machine. But even so, they were losing ground. The Scythery had switched tactics. They were cutting through walls now, burning vertical shafts down from the surface. One wrong move, and they'd be buried alive, or worse. Then came the tremor. Sarai reported it first. Orbital ships repositioning. Charging primary cannon. Dana turned to Cade, who had just staggered in with a cracked helmet and one functioning arm. "They're going to glass the whole grid. Erase the evidence," she said. "Then we give them more than evidence." Cade dropped a small, blinking device on the table. It was a stolen Scythery beacon, ripped from the corpse of the scout captain he'd downed earlier. "They think we're ants. Let's show them what fire ants do." Cade synced the beacon to the relay. Instantly, the Scythery net above re-engaged. The mothership reoriented, curious now, even cautious. It couldn't ignore its own tech. The beacon was a direct access key into the ship's protocol. "Sarai," Cade said, "can we feed it something ugly?" Her voice darkened. "I've been saving something spicy. Earth's raw history. War, rebellion, genocide, but also resistance, sacrifice, innovation. I'll make them feel every heartbeat of our extinction." Cade nodded. "Upload it. Now." Outside, the cannon charged with a rising scream. Inside, the Omega relay surged. Then something unexpected happened. The Scythery ship paused. In orbit, its alignment faltered. Its glow faded slightly. The AI core was parsing the human data. Billions of lifetimes of pain and perseverance compressed into a stream of raw signal. The command hierarchy fractured. And in that brief silence, the humans struck. Leo overloaded the plasma grid, sending a wave of burning light through the upper corridors. Dana released the coolant tanks, instantly flash-freezing advancing drones. Gramps sacrificed his safe room, triggering the biggest explosion yet, burying 3 Scythery squads in a collapsing tunnel. Cade charged the main shaft. He met the lead Scythery enforcer in open combat. Blade against blade, the kind of primal fury neither civilization had expected. Sparks flew. Blood spilled. Cade fought with a wounded arm, screaming with every motion. But he didn't fall. He broke the enforcer's helmet, revealing a face not unlike his own. Eyes filled with confusion, even fear. Cade stared down at him. "You came to silence us, but we are louder than your gods." He pulled the trigger. The enforcer collapsed. At that moment, the orbital ship made its final decision. It didn't fire. It withdrew. Across the stars, the human signal spread like wildfire. Colonies awakened. Hidden ships powered up. Forgotten allies reconnected. The myth of Earth's extinction shattered in real time. Scythery protocol faltered. Their consensus splintered. Cade stood atop the collapsed command platform as Dana and Leo climbed beside him, the surviving children and elders gathering slowly in the smoking dark. They were bruised, burned, and broken. But they had won. Sarai's voice returned, this time soft. "Transmission complete. Earth lives." Cade looked around the wreckage of the control room. The shattered relay, the glowing embers, the people who refused to die. We didn't just survive, he said. We proved something. They can burn our world, but not our will. Dana smiled through tears. What now? Cade turned to the surface tunnel. Light was breaking through the cracks. Not firelight, sunlight. We rebuild. We fight back. And we make damn sure they never forget what it means to burn a human world. Above, in the vast cold of space, the Sithri High Council reviewed the signal in silence. The youngest among them trembled. Should we prepare for another purge? One asked. The elder leaned forward, shaking his head slowly. No, not this time. Then what do we do? He stared at the final image from Earth, Cade, standing defiantly in the smoke. We apologize.